Alright guys, welcome to today's video where we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 value for money AK skins that are in the game right now in the middle of September 2025. This is going to be in no particular order, but it is going to be what I deem to be the 10 best options if you're trying to eke out the absolute best value for money in the game. And one thing that I think is very worth mentioning, just quickly, we are going to see the gallery case and the graphic collection removed shortly, which means we should be seeing a new collection and a new case within the next few weeks. So it could come out next week, it could be 4 weeks, so just keep that in mind. If a new AK comes and you're watching it after that point, maybe it should have been in the list. I rock the Omega gloves because they're just like neutral with one sort of bit of color, so we're not really going for perfect pairings with any AK to make them necessarily look better. Inheritance is my first suggestion here. This is a field tested Inheritance and it's about $65. The good news here is if you want to even save a little bit more money, you can even drop into Battle Scarred. Now, why do I think a $65 AK is good value for money? Well, this case is very much looking at the artwork on it. If I was in a blind test and someone told me that this AK was $300, and I see all the other AKs pricing around it, I would believe it. I would be like, okay, yeah, cool, fair, that makes sense. $300 AK, you look at the rest of the stuff in the market, it makes sense. So the fact that you can get an S2 AK that looks great from factory new to Battle Scarred, go in the field test in middle range for $65, this value is fantastic. And it's got a bunch of craft potential as well. And we very quickly cleared up that the best value for money isn't necessarily the cheapest, but there are some cheap options like the Ice Cold, which do hold quite strong value for money. Now, this is a $7.20 skin in minimal wear. You could joke about it looking like a Valorant skin if you wish. I think the color grading on this is fantastic. I did buy one when I first started playing CS again because I thought it looked so cool, and at that point I think it was like $30 for minimal wear, so it's dropped down. Super nice. Again, this is another one that has a lot of craft potential, but it is a good level of artwork, a very satisfying color, and comes in under $10. It also works with a lot of gloves if you're going for like the combo side of things. So yeah, this is a really strong value for money option if you aren't wanting to spend a crazy amount of money. And this might be where my personal bias comes in a little bit, but I do genuinely think the Nightwish is one of the top 10 value for money skins in the game. Now, it won't be for everyone, but the reason it's in the top 10 is because for some people, this is an incredible option for the price you pay. It is $16.20 for this level of artwork. It's also got, I think it's pearlescence effect on it, which is why it changes the color depending on how you inspect it and when you're holding it in idle, which I think is really cool. I do prefer the inspect colors over the idle colors just a little bit, so that can be a bit of variance, but I think just for the level of artwork you're getting on this, Next Gens is absolutely cooked on this as artwork style. And I say, it's not going to be for everyone, but for $16 for such heavy artwork, you can't deny that this has value. And then I'm going to be taking a look at another field test option, and this time it is the Empress. Now, I think this one was like a guaranteed fit. If you asked almost anyone for the top 10 value for money skins, the Empress is probably going to make its way in there. Now, I don't know what it is about it. It's kind of the same vibe I have with the Traitor. It's kind of dropped down a tiny bit in my estimation since the start of CS2. Maybe that's because we've got better skins around it, or other skins have got bits of buff with the CS2 engine and the lighting. But this is still a top skin. It's just shy of the $40, as I say, for field test it. This is another one that you can even go into Battle Scarred to save more money, but I think the jump up to minimum wear is still reasonable price range. Again, I've said artwork a lot. The artwork on this is fantastic. Like the colors of the reds, the blues, and the golds work really well together. It's in that same category, being by the same guys that made the Traitor and made the Emperor, so you kind of get this like tarot card collection. It's really fine artwork across the board. There's not too much more to say. Like, this is another one that, when I was saying like how the Inheritance, if you told me it was a $300 AK, and like you'd be like, okay, that's fine. This is kind of one that if you told me field test it was like $100 plus, and like get a blind test, I probably wouldn't bat too much of an eye. Not saying I wanted to jump to that price, but like that's where you would maybe think when you look at the other skins around it and how much they cost. If you had to try and like balance it in, you can see that working. Now, I think the Searing Raid was an absolute gem of an introduction in the Fever case. Minimum wear for this now is around the $8.40 mark. So the direct comparison for this, like a minimum wear AK, would be that Ice Cold that we looked at. There's about $1 difference in them. Now, this is another one where the artwork won't be for everyone, but I think just getting a heavy artwork graffiti style layer into it for under $10 just creates another good option for people. I love that it's got like the enemies and the arrow pointing where the bullets come out, and craft potential on this is nuts. The other one sort of to note is you can get this anywhere between factory new to battle scarred, and it's going to look good. which means if you really want to spend save some money, I think it goes down to under $5 in field tested. So at that point, for heavy artwork, it works with a lot of gloves as well. And just a vibe. Like, honestly, I think this is what I want to see from my pink rarity skins, and even some sort of like blue rarity skins. Like, give me this kind of thing, so we get more good options. I do think this next one is the one I probably had the most to beat with, and I do have two honorable mentions. You'll see, these would have been the ones I was considering instead. But I'm going to go for the headshot. Now, I know the last couple here have been the newer skins that we've had added into the game. Even the inheritance is in that category as well. I think there's something about the headshot. Now that it's sort of settled in price, it's down at $17. There was a time where this was still like an $80 AK minimum wear, and I don't think the value was strong then, but now it is. Now you can see that it's got the graffiti headshot written on it, so it plays in with the name. One thing I do like, I really like the colors in Idle. Kind of similar to the Nightwish, the Idle colors and the Inspect colors change because of the pearlescent effect. Now that might bug some people, and it's sort of like the reverse of what the Nightwish was. This one, I actually love the colors in Idle because it's blues and greens and yellows, and that's something we lack a little bit for craft potential in CS, so I like being able to play into that. And then obviously the Inspect gets you those pinks, but yeah, just a highly detailed AK that gives a very like niche and unique option to people if that's the style they're after. So I think that's why I was like, we have to feature at least in the top 10. And I don't think I'll ever get through a video like this without mentioning the Slate. It is just a full black AK, but it is also under $4 for field test it. I would note that you can buy this in any condition you want except for factory new, because you start to lose a lot of value for money at that point. But what I like about this, it gives me like black carbon Viper sort of vibes, and the reason I've always liked this as like a good value AK is if you don't have crazy budget to spend, and whether you're not going for a theme or the theme you have, for example, green. For the longest time, or even now, green AKs are very expensive. But if you have black and green gloves or a black and green vibe, you could buy the Slate and you could go put green stickers on it of your choice. If it's a red loadout, put red stickers on it. I like that flexibility. So I think that's why it will always be top for the value for money, as long as it remains under like this sort of $5 mark. And time for my potential surprise pick, because I have an Asimov in here, and I am going to put it in minimal wear, and this is our second most expensive one at $55. But the reasoning for this for me is I know this was only released in 2018, and I say only, that's quite a few years ago now. It still gives me an OG skin vibe. And when I talk about OG skins, a lot of people go like 2014, 2015, 2016, and then kind of cut it off. But I would say at this point, like a 2018 skin, this artwork is based on some of the actual original skins. It just gives me that vibe. And I think it looks pretty clean of minimal wear. I actually enjoyed using it in Battlescarred. I liked how it wore, but again, that's maybe a little bit of personal preference. But I think for like $55, you're getting not an S tier AK, but maybe like an A tier AK that does have really good craft potential, especially with Virtus Pro stickers. And well, foundation gloves are being pumped to the moon right now, but it used to be literally a perfect pairing with the foundation gloves because those colors are one-to-one to what the AK had. So there are some really nice elements about it. I'd say it is probably, along with the headshot, on the fringe of like being if I had to rank them in 9th or 10th. But I think it's really worth showing because it is a little bit slept on. And I know, some people in the comments are going to be thinking straight away, why is this skin here? But I think it was Slade that sort of detailed this, and I do agree with him. I think this is a very strong value for money AK still. I understand, or actually I don't even understand. I know some people dislike the browny, bronzy gold element of it. But I don't understand why that's a distaste whenever people run Aura gloves. People pay a lot of money for Aura gloves, and they'll run gold arabesques, which are like goldy brown as well. So I feel like there's a bit of disconnect there. For me, the level of artwork on this is pretty stunning. Like the detailing, like the hieroglyphs detailing, where it grips on the left hand. You've got the nice blue coloring down the magazine with the gold accent. The only thing for me, I'd say, is maybe the very back of the AK kind of lacks, or maybe it's not shiny enough on the bronze or gold. But still, when you're paying $10 for this, and it's kind of grouped in with, I'm going to say, like the Ice Cold, the Searing Rage, even the Nightwish at that point, all fantastic AKs for the money that you're paying in regards to getting good artwork. And then to end off my top 10 value for money, I've actually picked an elite build. Kind of shocked myself a little bit when I was looking through what kind of stem this is. We've had a bit of market manipulation in general over the last 6-7 months, so there are some items that in the past I may have crept in a field test version, or maybe I could have justified the $80 spend for minimal wear because it was so good. But now that's shot up in price, and it's now lost the actual value for money. this is $2.50 min wear. And I think if I was having to build a like $25 to $50 loadout and I was trying to spread against all weapons, like this is where you end up with looking at this AK and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't fancy a Searing Rage or an Ice Cold, but I do really like the Elite build and I want to have money elsewhere for ops, for example. Like, it just creates a lot of buffer elsewhere when you're doing budget loadouts, which I think is where it has its value from. Kind of similar to the Slate in that regard. But that's what I would say the top 10 value for money would be. And I'd say I have 2 honorable mentions here because I think they are worth discussing. The first one is the front side Misty, the toothpaste skin, as some people like to call it. This is a $47 skin in minimal wear, and I do think you need to go minimal wear because it does start to pick up too many scuffs after that, unless you're actually into the Battle-Scarred 5. Then the Battle-Scarred version might be of interest to you. My reason that this is here is because it's under 50k for a skin that is very unique, but I think has potential long-term in loadouts. Just because if that shade of blue is your thing, this is probably the only option you really have in the game right now to fulfill that. It has carbon fiber aspects on it as well, and it is blue, white, and black. And I know the inheritance is there with like the blue, white, and gold, but the closest thing to blue, white, and black next up would be a Vulcan in the several $100 mark. So I think this sits in a nice area to be a bit of a sleeper skin for some people if it's for the right loadout. And then finally, I just want to showcase the Cartel, because this is a skin that I've always liked it, but never built a loadout around it. Now, for me, I think it's because of the wooden stock. That's bugged me on a lot of skins in the past, but it's grown on me a little bit now. But what I love about this is, again, minimal wear at $26. You can buy this in field test. It'll still look good, save a bit of money. These 3D engravings on this are absolute next level. I think it's one, if we did see it over the full AK, it would have been sick, but I can understand going for the realistic vibe of the wood and maybe trying to break it up. But this is just specifically the style and the level of 3D artwork on this is immense, especially for the time it was introduced into the game as well. So I think this one, if you're, again, a little bit more unique, but I think you can do a lot with this, and I'm actually considering picking up a Cartel for a bit of rotation on my AKs. But there we go, that was my top 10 value for money AKs in the game right now. And yeah, we had a couple of honorable mentions in there as well. Now I need to remind you guys, this was value for money, not the flat out top 10 best. Because I know some people might turn around and say, oh well, why don't we have a Wild Lotus, why don't we have a Case Harder with a testicle pattern blue gem tier 3 or whatever? Because they're just stupid money, and they're not good value for money skins, and that's what we've locked in here. And this is going to be a series we work on weekly. Next up is going to be the Emperor A4. If you guys have any weapons you specifically want to see, let me know in the comments down below, and I will adjust the content calendar and plans to make sure we hit what you guys really want to see first. But there we go. I've done my waffling of value for money skins. We're going to have a lot more value sort of content focused the next month or two, just because the market's getting to a very weird place. I think we need to lock back into the roots of good value and affordable skins. But there we go. A big thank you to the YouTube members for continuing to support the channel. It is greatly appreciated as always. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're around here. I think we're very close, like a few subs off 9k. So help me smash that this weekend. That'd be fantastic. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Good. Bye.